Hello and welcome to Spirits in the Theater. My name is Mike Maeshiro and I'm your host. And today we're going to talk about Peanut Butter Falcon. I don't know, hopefully you guys heard of this movie at least, if not seen it. I saw it in a trailer one time and I was like, I'm going to see that movie. I wasn't sure when, it wasn't going to be like at the top of my list, but I knew I was going to enjoy it. Shia LaBeouf, and I don't know the other guy's name, or the girl's name either. But I never actually went out of my way to see the movie. I was on a business trip to the East Coast, and it was on the flight that I was on, which, by the way, JetBlue, big fan of that airline. Anyway, the movie was in one of the movie sections, and so I watched it. It's about this guy with Down syndrome who escapes from an old folks' home to go try and be part of a wrestling school, and he befriends this renegade, criminal, outlaw dude, Shia LaBeouf's character. Anyway, and you watch their journey of their friendship developing and them getting to work out, do they matter to each other, do they care, can they be on the same page, can they travel together, can they go toward something common even though they're so different. And one of the things I really enjoyed and appreciated about this film was Shia LaBeouf's character didn't coddle the Down syndrome guy's character. Like, he didn't treat him like he was different than other people. He didn't reduce himself and try and get on his level. He wasn't cruel or harsh. Well, I guess it depends on who's watching. But he basically expected him to keep up and to show up and bring his best and hey, let's go. You want to be with me? You got to move. And some people, I think, interpret that as being uncaring or lacking compassion. And maybe there were moments where that was the case. But at the end of the day, you understand that Shia LaBeouf's character is not uncaring of this guy. If anything, actually, the way he treats him is a demonstration of the respect he does have for him that maybe is misinterpreted by other people. And I really enjoyed the complexity of the elements they were messing with in the movie and the way they displayed it. I thought they did a really good job conveying the nature of their relationship. And it was really fun and rewarding, especially I think as a guy, to watch them work out their friendship. Because they don't get along right away. Shia LaBeouf just pushing him away constantly. He's doing what he can to help him and then wants to move on with his life. And the other guy wants to continue to be in his world, not out of a desperate place, but just out of value and out of a longing for friendship with someone he respects. And at one point, Shia LaBeouf's character finds out that the guy with Down syndrome escaped from somewhere and he's on the run. He's a renegade too, and Shia LaBeouf's whole attitude toward him immediately changes in the film, and he's like, "You're on the run too," and he becomes all friendly and there's a camaraderie there immediately that. It's obviously conditional, but one thing that I do appreciate and want to point out in this aspect of the film is I find that to be true in my friendships with guys. I think this is a male thing, which might be a sexist statement. I don't think it is. I think typically the way men tend to navigate friendship and camaraderie and brotherhood and that kind of thing, it's unique among men that women don't operate this way. And I've noticed in my friendships with certain guys, that's just another value they also hold. As soon as one of them exposes something vulnerable that maybe they're not proud of, or it demonstrates a weakness, or something that hasn't gone well, that they don't want the world to know, or something. As soon as it gets exposed, the other guy wants to cover it, and also knows that if this is going to go somewhere and they're going to be on the same page, he needs to also expose something about himself. And usually, they don't want to move forward. The guy who exposes something doesn't want to move forward until the other guy actually exposes himself as well. And it's almost like this unspoken agreement, if I'm going to be vulnerable here, you need to be too. And we're going to both agree that's where we are. And it's kind of, and the thing that's unique about it is it's not all spelled out in English. When I watch women relate to each other, in whatever way that I understand that, but even when I'm relating to girls in friendship, a lot of the relational dynamic is communicated in spoken language, right? It's articulated, and they're really good at putting language and words to feelings and dynamics and elements and meanings and whatever. Men don't tend to demonstrate the same level of skill or maybe value for that kind of communication. It's not because it's not valued, not because they don't have those feelings or values, but because they don't demonstrate it in the same way. So I think that they depicted this in a really interesting way, and then when the female character comes into the mix, you see such a contrast in how she relates to the guy with Down syndrome. Her attitude, and the thing is, her attitude isn't necessarily wrong either. It's obvious that these two treat him differently, but they both have their reasons, and as the viewer, you understand both of them. So I think the storytelling was really responsibly done. It wasn't trying to prop one up as the right way and one as the wrong, condemn the other. It was demonstrating two different value systems and priorities and how they were relating to this person with his limitations. And I think they both brought strength and beauty and clarity. And so then as you watch the three of them go through the journey together, you get sucked into their unique dysfunctional intimacy and friendship that gets formed among them. And it's such a fun adventure. There's this moment where, like, he loves this wrestler, right, who has, like, these interesting wrestling moves. And there's this moment, spoiler alert, just because okay, there are a couple moments in this movie where I busted up laughing out loud, and no one on the plane was making any noise, and I couldn't stop. I couldn't help it because it was so funny to me. So, this is not necessarily a comedy, but there were so many funny moments. There's this one moment where the Downs guy is trying to, like, he wants to become this certain kind of wrestler and learn these moves, and so he found the guy, his hero, and, like, went to wrestling school for a little bit. And there's a certain move this guy does, which clearly on the video is, like, not real. He lifts the dude over his head and just tosses him across the thing. And this Down syndrome guy is, like, known for his strength in their, they're like, well, you're strong. And there's this moment where Shia LaBeouf, like, tells him, like, dude, you're strong. You've got, and he, like, affirms him as a man, and they, like, do these things around a fire, and he lifts things and does these, like, physical feats, and he's just being, like, affirmed and validated by another man about his abilities and his strength, which is such an important, like, dynamic in male friendship, right? Anyway, at the end of this film, he's wrestling this guy who is not messing around. Like, he's actually trying to hurt this guy. And they're like, what the heck, you're supposed to, help him out. And he's like, I'm not going to do that. And you're just kind of, like, concerned because now you're like, this guy's twice this guy's size. He's going to beat him up. And at one point, the Down syndrome guy gets into his mode, his zone. He's like, he's ready to throw down. And they wanted to talk trash to him. He's like, I'm not inviting you to my birthday party. Lifts the dude over his head and tosses him out of the wrestling ring. And he's just soaring through the air. The guy has, like, long curly hair. It's like this awesome, triumphant moment and so funny. And so the storytelling of this movie just was artistically done, and I think it was just really enjoyable. I would highly recommend this film. Whether you're a man or woman, it doesn't matter. I think that you get a lot out of this. It's really fun. The language is pretty explicit, but it's such a heartfelt, like, meaningful story, and I really enjoyed it. And remember, guys, when you're watching a movie, you're never alone.
Great. Cut.